Hello, I'm David. Welcome to our channel.
Hello, I'm Sophia too.
So today we're going to jump into a film that I think a lot of us approached with some pretty massive skepticism.
Oh, for sure.
But we left, just raving about it. We're talking about the 2020 horror thriller, The Invisible Man,
Directed by Leigh Whannell.
and starring the absolutely phenomenal Elisabeth Moss.
And I think our mission today really isn't to just rehash the plot. We want to get into the craft of it.
Exactly.
We want to understand what alchemy was at play here that turned, a kind of tired universal monster idea into this really modern high-tension masterpiece.
Yeah, how did he do it? How did Whannell use the filmmaking itself, the sound to just manufacture fear, and on a budget that wasn't, a huge blockbuster budget?
It's kind of a blueprint for how to do this right.
It really is. And let's start with that skepticism, because I think it was warranted. I mean, when you hear they're digging up another classic monster, you kind of brace for impact.
You do. We've seen it fail so many times recently.
So many times. You have Frankenstein, you've got the misfire of the Wolfman, Dracula Untold.
And, The Mummy, the Tom Cruise one.
Oh, that one left a crater.
Yeah.
They all tried to build this big cinematic universe, and they just felt bloated.
Exactly. They were focused on the franchise, not the story. And what makes this 2020 version work in spades is that it threw all that away.
Right.
It's not trying to be a sci-fi action movie. It commits 100% to being a psychological horror film.
And that genre shift is everything, isn't it? I mean, the original H.G. Wells story is classic science fiction. It's about the discovery.
Yeah, the science of it all.
But this film takes that idea and immediately grounds it in something terrifyingly modern, which is, sustained abuse and stalking.
It just feels so relevant. The basic idea, a woman escapes an abusive partner, and then he finds a way to become invisible to torment her. It hits home because the fear isn't just physical.
No.
It's the fear of losing your mind, of no one believing you.
And when you look at who's behind the camera, Leigh Whannell, it all starts to click. I mean, this is the guy who wrote Saw on a shoestring budget.
He worked on Insidious.
And he directed that awesome film Upgrade.
Right. And that background is so important. Whannell knows how to get the most impact out of limited resources. He gets that real terror comes from tension, from ingenuity, not just from, $100 million of CGI.
Which brings us to the film's biggest trick, I think. The real innovation.
Yeah.
Making the absence of the villain the single most terrifying thing in the movie.
It's just genius. And this is where, if you're into filmmaking, it gets so interesting. How do you make an antagonist scary when he's not even there for most of the film?
Right.
And this movie is the proof that it's not about loud noises all the time. It's about suggestion.
So structurally, how does he do that?
Well, he weaponizes what we call negative space. Just think about the camera work. He's constantly using these wide frames, or they'll pan away from Elisabeth Moss and just hold the shot on an empty doorway or a corner of the room.
And you, as the audience, you're immediately pulled in. You become this paranoid participant. You know you're not going to see anything, but the camera's telling you, look over there. He's there. He's watching. So you start scanning the frame. You're hunting for him.
Yes. You're basically becoming an accomplice to her paranoia. We're all searching the edges of the screen, which validates her fear way before any other character in the movie does.
It's so cost-effective, but it's brilliant. Because the monster you imagine in that empty space is always going to be scarier than what a visual effects team can create.
Absolutely.
Okay, but if you're relying that much on suggestion, doesn't it? I mean, isn't there a risk of it getting slow? How did he keep that energy up without just showing a threat all the time?
That's where the sound design comes in.
Yeah.
It's the other half of the equation. And we're not just talking about using silence. We're talking about really subtle, nuanced sound mixing. When the invisible presence moves, it's not always a big crash. A lot of times it's just a tiny metallic click of a doorknob turning, or you might hear the floorboards creak in a way that suggests wait, even though you see nothing.
So the sound is basically providing the physical logic. It proves he's in the room, even if your eyes tell you he isn't.
Precisely. And then there are those sequences that are almost completely silent, and that forces you to lean in and listen for anything. The sound of fabric, or maybe in one scene, just his breath.
It just dials up the paranoia that the camera's already created.
It does. And that focus on craft is what makes the scares feel so earned. I mean, look, there are jump scares in this movie.
For sure.
But none of them feel cheap. They feel like a pressure valve releasing after he spent 5 minutes just building and building and building that tension.
Totally narratively integrated.
Yeah, it wasn't just a movie using cheap tricks. It was committed to the psychology of it all.
And connecting that technical side to the story brings us right to Elisabeth Moss. She's the anchor that makes this whole crazy premise feel real. I mean, she is so damn good in this.
Her performance grounds everything. What she does nonverbally is it's staggering. She has to react to nothing.
To an empty room.
Right. Or to the camera's suggestion of something in an empty room while showing this incredible mix of terror and exhaustion and defiance. It's all in her eyes.
And that emotional journey she's on is so relatable, even if you haven't been in that specific, sci-fi horror situation.
Of course not.
The feeling of being controlled, of being gaslit, of having someone just systematically dismantle your reality to make you feel crazy, that's a universal fear.
And the filmmaking puts the audience right there with her. Whannell traps us in her perspective. We see what she sees. We hear the little things she hears. So the audience is basically being gaslit right alongside her.
Which is a brilliant move, because it makes her fight an underdog story from the very start.
Yeah.
She's not just fighting an invisible man. She's fighting the police, her family, everyone who thinks she's having a breakdown.
And what's so fascinating is how smart the antagonist is. He isn't just a brute.
No, it's all calculated.
It's all calculated. His plan unfolds like these perfectly placed dominoes, all designed to make her look as crazy as possible, to isolate her. It's psychological warfare.
Which makes that final confrontation just so satisfying. You're so invested in her taking back her life and her sanity.
It's really a survival story wrapped up in a horror movie.
Okay, so let's talk about the script itself for a minute. The dialogue's good, the story holds together, but like with a lot of these high-concept films, you get these little movie logic moments,
Right, yeah. While the acting and directing are just top tier, there were a couple of tiny logistical things that make you go, They don't ruin it at all, but you notice them.
I think the big one is technology, specifically when it's there and when it's conveniently not there. The movie makes it clear that security cameras exist in this world.
They're mentioned.
Yet there's this huge, really important scene in a crowded public restaurant, a big moment of attack, and you just have to assume there isn't a single security camera in the entire place.
Yeah, because if there was one camera pointed in the right direction, that whole part of the conflict would be resolved instantly. You'd have proof.
It's that classic thing where you have to bend reality a little bit for the sake of the drama. You need that public scene to work, even if it creates a tiny plot hole.
But I think the key thing to say is that those moments were so few and far between. The power of the performances and Whannell's direction is so strong that you forgive it. You're too caught up in the tension to worry about restaurant surveillance policies.
Totally agree. It got a B+, which is a really solid rating. And it proves that smart horror that relies on tension and clever filmmaking can totally reinvigorate an old idea.
And that success has opened up some really cool doors for Whannell.
Yeah, I'm so excited about the talk of him maybe working on an Escape from New York movie.
Oh, that would be perfect for him.
Yeah.
His ability to create these tense, high-stakes scenarios with minimal fluff would just translate so brilliantly to that world.
It really would. So I guess this brings us to the final thought for you, the listener. Thinking about how effective suggestion and sound and all that negative space were in this movie. Think about this. What other classic monster story could be done this way?
Ooh, good question.
Like Frankenstein, or maybe The Creature from the Black Lagoon. What if you adapted them today by focusing entirely on the psychological fear, the fear of the unseen, instead of just, big CGI monsters? Something to think about.
Stay tuned for our next video. So in order not to miss our next video, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell next to it to be notified of our next video. And if you liked our program today, like the video.
And yeah, let us know what you thought of the film if you've seen it. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Goodbye.